I know you, Scorpio, by the sheer power you exert on everything and everyone about you, by the strength that makes things move apparently without effort. I know you by the vital life force that boils unseen within you and makes itself felt in silent ways. For Scorpio is the quiet warrior who prefers the act to the word, and who burns and is consumed by the will to win.
I have seen you, Scorpio, drawing others to you like a powerful magnet, using your strength to make them stronger. I have seen you mastering your mind, body, emotions, and at last, in triumph, mastering your fate, and often the fate of others.
I have heard you, Scorpio, choosing your words carefully and shooting them like bullets until they destroy the counterfeit and the pretentious. I have heard your silence, covering the deep, dark places where secrets are hidden, and the purple scorpion fire burns.
Scorpio, your word is desire, from the Latin desidero, meaning to long for.
If you think when you look at an employer, there but for the grace of God go I, and the only difference is he was lucky. If you're a soloist who couldn't stand being just one of the team, should your idea be to prove yourself by challenging the boss? Don't work for a Scorpio. He knows why he's boss. He has drive, force, builds a strong organization, and if challenged, will simply take you apart and feed the pieces to the unemployment agency. All he asks of you is everything, which is exactly what he is prepared to give. He wants to make it, and nothing would please him more than to see you make it too. Give him loyalty and faith, and he'll give you strength. Obstacles were made so he could remove them. You'll never know 10% of what he's thinking, but the opposition will know even less. That's why you'll be working for a winner.
If you're the kind of employer who likes to play Big Daddy and considers employees as your family and your children, if in fact you have a sort of patronizing air when relating to your staff, should you require applause instead of cooperation and hard work, don't hire a Scorpio. This is an individualist and wants to be treated as such. He'll add an element of control to any situation because his self-control is Olympian. He won't be your buddy-buddy and you won't call him son, but he'll give you an all-out effort for every dollar you pay him. This is a silent type, and he won't waste time in light patter while on the job. He seeks power. He desires self-improvement on every level. When the situation calls for someone who won't back down no matter what the odds, you'll be glad a Scorpion is with you. Above all, he wants to be on the winning side. What makes Scorpio physical? Mars is the co-ruler of Scorpio, and Mars also rules the muscles and the sinews and the organs of sex, creating in the native a need for physical expression. Mars influences in the direction of combativeness and strife, causing the Scorpion to seek a challenge wherever he may find one. He is always engaged in a test of strength.
What makes Scorpio spiritual? Scorpio is also ruled by Pluto, and Pluto rules the spiritual body. This leads the native into the forces which are concealed, the intangibles and the mysteries. It induces spiritual activity of a dynamic as opposed to a meditative nature.
What makes Scorpio intense? Mars is masculine, positive, penetrating, and physical. Pluto is negative, magnetic, inverted, and spiritual. These two energies produce a highly charged personality, tightly controlled, concentrated, and electrifying.
What makes Scorpio? Physical and spiritual energy. For the native is ruled by Mars and Pluto. A scorpion is on fire when your moon is in Aries. Look out, everybody. The day begins and ends with one person, and that person is you. A fight anywhere, anytime, and anyhow, with any weapons for any reason. Ideas can only be tested by action, and theories are so much paper until you can make them live. Yours is the fire and ice that devours everything and everyone it touches. Even you have to keep it under control to ensure your own survival.
The scorpion with the moon in Taurus indicates an aggressive bigness. The voluptuous bull swells the scorpion intensity and adds scope to ambitions. You are a quietly combative sign with an unchanging plan of battle. There is a time to dig in and a time to charge, and once it works, there is no reason why it shouldn't work again. You always make sure it does, for you hate to be wrong.
Scorpio is not the most talkative native, but the moon in Gemini loosens your tongue. It also relaxes the scorpion intensity and steadfastness of purpose. You move through life with a free and easy style that may not earn you a great deal of dollars or power, but allows you to get a great deal more joy from whatever happens to be going on at the time.
The meeting of two water signs occurs when the scorpion moon is in Cancer. You are impressionable and fluid. There is a waiting plastic quality, a patience motivated by an absolute belief in yourself. Your deep emotionalism is the core of your strength. When this is working, you are at the top of your form. But when the storm of extreme feelings come up, yours is the fury close to madness, and reason is a thing lost at sea.
The scorpion moon in the lion's den makes for a kingly scorpion. This is the sign of grand passion and grand desire, a monarch who loves to rule, who makes large gestures and upholds great ideals. You are a high standard bearer who is also a dedicated romantic. Nothing can make you more frantic than not knowing where your next love is coming from.
Perfection as a fact, not a possibility, motivates the scorpion with a virgin moon. You are supercritical and harder on yourself than you are on anyone else. Your intellect is your castle, and you have a fine view from many windows. Your hope is that men will think, and you live to inspire them to do so, using the scorpion intensity to drive home what Virgo understands.
The scorpion loses some sting and feels insufficient when the moon is in Libra. But you do gain a sense of people, and a desire for personal gratification is tempered by concern for others, especially in intimate associations. You have a warm touch, and once you touch someone, the feeling doesn't die easily. for there is something of permanent beauty in nearly everything you do.
There is a whole lot of Scorpio when the moon is also in Scorpio. Domination is the key and the door and the house. This is the will indomitable. You have no choice but to focus that will on something or someone, whether it be work, love, or sex. Mastery of the subject must be complete, or it loses its fascination. You are highly charged, and your switch never seems to be in the off position.
The Scorpion with his moon in Sagittarius would make a good soldier, because he would believe that God was on his side. If he were laying bricks, he would be building a cathedral. As a parent, he wouldn't be raising a child, but creating a life. Your need is to be part of something bigger than yourself. Your idealism is so strong, it separates you from the usual, and this quality eventually works to your advantage and benefit.
Your slogan is, "Don't tell me what to do," when Scorpio's moon is in Capricorn. No one has to tell you because your way is the only way for you. Ambition, energy, and persistence equals success just as surely as A square plus B square equals C square. If you want to get something, be something, or do something, that's how it's going to be. If the popular voice is against you, you'll simply quote Bernard Shaw. If more than 10% of the people approve of something, it's no damn good.
You're a live one if you're a Scorpion with your moon in Aquarius. You are also an original one, and it is your originality of thought and ability to create that gives you your primary satisfaction. There is a deep need, however, to find acceptance on a personal level, which makes you a loyal, fixed friend and a devoted home person. Your word is often the last word, but it usually is a valuable and a true one.
The Scorpion loses some pizzazz when the moon is in Pisces. The physical aspect of life's challenge is not so important, and you're more likely to seek victories or gratification in the universe of the mind. This native is restless and anxious about himself, and he has to rise above the negatives his incredible imagination can dream up. Taking a line from the popular song, all you need is love. Seven is the number of victory, and Scorpio's primary need is to be victorious. 7 are the number of heroes chosen to regain the throne of Thebes. Scorpio's heroism is legendary. 7 is the symbol of the life power succeeding, and Scorpio's force is relentless in its attempt to assert life. 7 is the Hebrew indication of occult intelligence, and Scorpio is ever fascinated with the mysteries of life and death. 7 is the numerical sign of an oath, and Scorpio lives and dies by the value of his word. 7 is the sign of luck, and Scorpio is favored because the native helps create his own good fortune. There are 7 deadly sins, and the only way to overcome them is to master the self. This is Scorpio's essential ambition.
Because bloodstone is dark crystals of green within green, because it has splashes of red exploding, it is Scorpio stone. The bloodstone has the feeling of a heavy black-green sunless forest, spotted with bursts of violence, just as Scorpio's dark, passive exterior is illuminated by sudden flashes of fire. The bloodstone hides a somber beauty, just as Scorpio's profound feelings and vital soul are concealed behind a veil of control. But the depth is there. It must be sensed and felt. And Scorpio has this to remind him that if one hides himself too well, he is either misunderstood, overlooked, underrated, or what is worse, feared, even by those who would want to have loved him.
Color Scorpio, deep red. As deep red as passion is red when it is heavy in the blood. As deep red as the badge of courage when the battle begins and the weak must be led. For Scorpio is the physical fighter who must rise above fear and prevail. But you, Scorpio, must not forget the timeless cliché that as you live, you die. And usually by the thing you fear most. Live by the sword, and that is how you perish.
So, Scorpio, pry into the 7 secrets of life and death. Conceal yourself in the dark green shadows of the bloodstone. Follow your deep red path to victory. There's one thing to bear in mind. It may have taken 7 days, 7 years, or 7 million millenniums to build the world. With our new power, it will take 7 seconds and 1 act of vengeance to destroy it.
In love, Scorpio? Oh, it's none of my business. But you are, of course. And you're going to set the night on fire, among other things. But love is not only a question of meeting and mating, it's a battlefield, and someone has to win. And you, Scorpio, have a pretty good idea of who it will be. Well, no matter who wins, your partner will know they've been in one hell of a pillow fight.
In love with a Scorpio man, my girl? What's your threshold of pain? You don't know? You're just about to find out. How much love can you handle? You find that out, too. This is the real thing. And it isn't maybe time, it's yes or it's no, whatever the question might be. The truth is, the decision will probably be his, especially if he's really in a fever. Remember, his key word is passion, and everything he does will be very hot or very cold. This is not a neutral native. Never fool with his dignity, and if you decide to walk, do it gracefully. He's the world's worst enemy. If Scorpio is what you want, put away your autograph book, your roller skates, and your bubble gum. You're a big girl now.
In love with a Scorpio girl, my boy? Well, you've just found a female who knows about being a woman, and who also knows what makes you tick. If you have a Casanova complex and have no doubt about the effectiveness of your fatal charm and your wheat germ virility, you're about to put your hand to the flame. Don't expect her to play by the rules. Now, she makes them up as she goes along. And don't think you'll be able to figure her out, or play father confessor or resident psychiatrist. She is 6 layers of mystery. She has secrets. She has dark dreams that you will never touch. And she has passion. If she gives you the affirmative nod, your nights and days will be consumed with the heat of living. This is not halfway house. This is total, all-out involvement. If a Scorpion woman is what you want, put away your BB gun, baseball glove, hot rod. Today, friend, you're a man.
Out of love, Scorpio? None of my business. Okay, don't open up. But next time, try a Pisces or a Cancer. And remember, not everybody reads minds. If you don't say what you feel, someone's liable to think you don't feel at all.
The Scorpion begins with a compulsive desire to test his strength, and that testing will take in every possible area and dimension of his youthful existence. He will try his physical prowess against every child in the neighborhood. He will have the need to try his mental apparatus in an infinite variety of ways. He'll even be tempted to see how much pain he can take, and is most certainly going to try the power of his will against all comers, including his parents. This is a tough-minded, courageous child who has such depth of emotional, spiritual, and intellectual energy that he is in a constant battle with himself. And here you have the key to him. It will be the motivation of his life to master himself. He won't let himself get away with anything, and he won't let others get away with anything either. He is quietly but fiercely protective of his home and those he loves, and it is no exaggeration to say that he will truly lay his life on the line in this cause.
In his second season, the Scorpion native goes forth to do battle. He fights for the sake of fighting, tests his strength in vain contests, and constantly tries to contain and control the fierce forces within him. This sidetracks him and slows him down. In fact, even when opportunity presents itself, his first instinct is to challenge it instead of embracing it. Another danger is he may decide to rule in hell rather than serve in heaven. For the dark places of the world are always calling to his passionate nature.
In his third season, the Scorpio native who has matured achieves his most important victory, the victory over his passions. With his energies contained and his ability to control all the forces within him, he is able to bring an extreme power to bear on any aspect of his life. He then begins to play a highly significant role in his chosen profession and in society in general. He'll be the emotional, intellectual, and physical muscle that tolerates no opposition to the end he has in mind. He will have extreme likes and dislikes, and if pressed, will make them known with total clarity.
In his last season, Scorpio will begin a slow withdrawal from the material world, and more will seek the spiritual possibilities. Mysteries of the past and also of the future will begin to occupy his mind. The fires will still blaze and the complete confidence never weaken. He will know that many have worshipped him and many have despised him, but he will not care, for he will know that to be strong either invites love or hate. He can live with both. For Scorpio, man and woman alike, to become is to conquer the self, and they have the satisfaction of knowing they won out over the most difficult possibility in the Zodiac.
I believe that cosmic religious sense is one of the strongest and noblest motives behind scientific research. Albert Einstein. I hold it for certain that the celestial bodies have in them certain other influences besides heat and light. I have practiced astrology, and you have not. If I do not condemn it, how can you presume to do so? Sir Francis Bacon. It is the stars above us, governs our conditions. William Shakespeare. Ye stars, which are the poetry of heaven, in your bright leaves we would read the fate of men and empires. Lord Byron. Astrology is astronomy brought down to earth and applied to the affairs of man. Ralph Waldo Emerson. We of the fixed stars have rejected the message of the wanderers of the sky. Do they not tell us of things to come as well as of things long past, buried in the racial memory of man? Henry Miller. It is the very error of the moon. She comes more near to earth than she was wont, and makes men mad. From Othello by William Shakespeare. We are born at a given moment, in a given place. And like vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and the season in which we are born. Astrology does not lay claim to anything more. Carl Jung.